time flies. I think one day, you will regret if you don't reach what you can reach.
If you turn back the clock to only just 5 years ago, and then turn your attention to Tottenham Hotspur, you'd quickly learn that this was a team on the up. For years, they had suffered from ridicule on their inability to win titles, but things seemed as though they were changing. And one of the key players that was expected to lead the charge in the glory years to come was none other than Dele Alli. A creative attacking player with a skill set so unique that it's hard to put him in a specific category of player. A winner of multiple Young Player of the Year awards and a talent that many were expecting to enjoy watching for years to come. And yet, at just 26 years of age, he's been offloaded by Spurs and then shipped off on loan by Everton after only just 7 months there. Listen, it's downright stupid to call a Premier League level footballing professional a failure. Simply put, he's nowhere near a failure. But it's hard not to feel a little disappointed by recent events. Today is a Dele Alli episode. Where did it go wrong? Is the situation salvageable? What's going on with Dele Alli? Yo, what's going on everyone? Hope you're all doing well. I'm Tinashe and welcome back to another Football Iconic video. This one is indeed a curious case and a situation that I'm sure a lot of people have been following. But first things first, we gotta thank today's sponsor. If you're a lover of fantasy football and you're a watcher of this channel, you probably already know what's coming next. Happy to say that this video was sponsored by the good people over at Spitch. If you don't know by now, Spitch is a daily fantasy football manager that pits you against your mates, family, or members of your very own football community. Each match week, you can create a brand new squad in one of many fully licensed popular football leagues and compete for cash prizes. The game makes use of an in-depth stats system to track performances, and as of the 22-23 season, a brand new season mode feature has been added. In this game mode, managers select a new lineup each match day, and your best 5 matches throughout the season will count towards your final ranking. With all that in mind, right now is the best time to go ahead and download Spitch using the link in the description. And if you're so inclined after that, you can use the one below that to join my community, the Iconic League. Once again, cheers to Spitch for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. The life of Dele Alli growing up wasn't an easy one to say the least. In fact, I can pretty confidently say that upon hearing about what he's been through and contrasting that with everything that he's gone on to achieve, all of his detractors may reconsider their position. Born in 1996 in Milton Keynes, Ali was born as the son of a Nigerian father and an English mother. But the parental presence for him and his siblings left a lot to be desired. A father that moved to the US almost as soon as he was born, and a mother that struggled with alcohol abuse. Education in the classroom was never a point of priority for the boy, instead choosing to focus his attention on playing ball in the streets. I guess it's a tad unconventional, but that was his true education. These days, almost every kid that we see at an elite academy has been part of the footballing system as early as 5 or 6 years of age. Dele Alli only entered the system at about 11, so he was a late bloomer for sure. However, as it turned out, his kicking about unsupervised in the streets turned out to be pretty great preparation. He was a natural athlete with a great touch, which undoubtedly helped somewhat. So after joining MK Dons in 2007 and developing further, he only went from strength to strength. Although at home, things remained unstable. Eventually, it was arranged for Ali to move into the house of one of his academy mates at the Dons when he was 13, an arrangement that would give him the best chance of going far in the game. He was never formally adopted by this family, but he's always referred to them as his adoptive parents. Even further, he's chosen not to display the Ali name on his jersey for personal reasons. I guess this gives us a bit of insight into his childhood. On the pitch, his rise was rapid. Debuting for the Dons in League One at only 16 and becoming a first-team regular by 17, he impressed almost every time he was on the pitch. Manchester United have probably forcibly forgotten a notorious 4-0 loss to MK Dons in the 14-15 League Cup. One of the most embarrassing post-Ferguson losses for the club, for sure. Dele Alli was on the pitch. A performance followed by a string of performances that drew a crazy amount of attention, had people making Steven Gerrard comparisons, and had scouts keenly watching. By the end of that year, he picked up the League One Young Player of the Year award, and it was Tottenham Hotspur who eventually secured the services of the 18-year-old. According to Ali himself, at the start of his debut season for Spurs, the 15-16 season, his goal was to start just 10 games, which makes sense. You know, easing into things. Spurs quickly realized what kind of a talent they had on their hands, and by January of 2015, just months after he'd signed, he was given a new and improved long-term contract. And he kind of smashed his own expectations, I think, because by the end of that season, he'd made 28 starts with 33 overall appearances, 10 goals, and 9 assists. With Spurs being a legitimate title contender for the first time in a very long time, he was a very important part of the team and also bagged the PFA Young Player of the Year award. Before we go any further, I want to quickly highlight what made him so special early on, and because I haven't already done so in this video, I think now is a good time to segue. First things first, the stats don't really matter in this one, which is probably an odd thing for me to say because from a numbers perspective, he actually fits right up there if we're being honest. If we take his stats from 2015 to about 2018, you'll see that the only people who outperformed him on that basis were mostly pure attackers. I'm talking strikers and inside forwards. After all, he did cover quite a bit of ground and played in many roles. According to former Spurs boss Mauricio Pochettino, in the box, he looks like a striker, and outside the box, he plays like a midfielder. However, all that may be confusing to someone that wasn't paying close attention at the time. On first impressions, Dele Alli may be 6'2", but he's never been the most physical guy around. He's athletic and can dribble, but he's not the fastest nor the most agile either. As per his stats, he's got a good shot on him and can find a good pass, but in my eyes, he's never been near the same level as the likes of Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, his teammates at the time, when it came to either of those categories. So what is it that made him so special? In my eyes, above all else, it was his movement. Easily his biggest trait from when he first broke on the scene was his ability to find himself unmarked in the most congested of areas, after which that killer final ball or shot regularly opened up for him. That ability spawned from his astute footballing mind, hardened due to all the reps he was putting in his childhood, as well as a strong will to advance that came up over the years. The result was an elite level of concentration on the pitch. Because of all of that, it's kind of hard to box him into a category of player to compare him to. However, a comparison that many people have made in the past is with Thomas Müller, which is a stretch, I'll be completely honest there, but if we're being real, it's not as far of a stretch as a lot of people may make it out to be. I mean, listen, let's be real, these two are completely different players and on two completely different levels. One is an all-time German player, World Cup winner, two-time treble winner, etc. and etc. Astonishingly more accomplished. But all I'm saying with this one is they both have that ability to exploit spaces, the interpretation of space, if you will. And again, at only 20 years old at the time, given the right circumstances, who is to say that he wouldn't be able to develop into something special, maybe even, dare I say it, Müller-like. This is a hypothetical, so don't get mad. The next few years saw him go even further. Back-to-back PFA Young Player of the Year awards, more memorable performances and goals, even a Champions League final in 2019. His cheeky attitude and charisma were winning him tons of fans, and things were definitely on the up. Until they weren't. At Dele Alli's peak, thus far at least, he was being labelled as Real Madrid level quality by the likes of Roberto Carlos. That endorsement in particular came in mid-2017. 5 years later, and while many may have agreed with Carlos at the time, I don't think it's a very popular opinion nowadays. So what we're going to do now is just go over a few theories that explain why that may be the case. I guess one of the reasons that undoubtedly affected his game was his poor luck in 2018-19. After flying high for a while, injuries came in thick and fast that year and he endured a very stop-start season. His form took a bit of a dip too, and ever since then, he never played more than 25 games in the league for Spurs in a single season. Now, it's easy to come to the conclusion that this is where it all fell apart, but I don't think it's that simple. Fast forward to late 2019, and with Spurs as a whole on a downward trajectory, Pochettino was shown the door. This presents our next theory. Now, it's no secret that Poch and Ali had a fantastic working relationship, with Ali being a trusted member of his first string. After 5 years with the club, it's only natural that you as a manager would build up a strong relationship with your players, especially the young ones that you put a lot of faith into early in their careers. It's not a stretch to say that the departure of Poch had a significant effect on Ali. And on the note of player relationships, it's quite telling that the transition from Poch to Mourinho also marked an overall decline in Tottenham Hotspur as a club. However, these days, a lot of the conversations that should probably include that fact seem to only be focusing on Ali in isolation. But I guess this only makes sense, especially considering the fact that Ali very publicly and almost immediately fell out with Jose Mourinho as soon as he became the Spurs coach. We got very many quotable moments from Amazon's All or Nothing documentary on Spurs, but some of the most replayed ones were of the same sentiments as the short clip I included in the intro. Dele Alli needed to change his attitude. He had lost his way. By most accounts early in his career, Ali was described as being one of the fittest, hungriest players on any given team, but that fighting spirit, that fighting desire, seemed to slowly wane off as time went by. Whether that was due to him resting on his laurels or something else entirely, we'll never know. But we saw it happen in real time every single time he played, or every time he didn't play, which was probably more of a regular occurrence, if we're being honest. Back to the pitch, and the final theory I want to discuss that may describe his fall may very well be the simplest one of them all. The game moved on and he failed to adapt. Going back to the, again, very loose comparisons with Muller I spoke about and the space interpreter role, an interesting fact about that role is that it's not very prominent in England. Spurs, when they were competing for the title, were operating within a perfect storm of circumstances. The pace and directness of Son, the precision and strength of Kane, the composure and creativity of Eriksen, and the positioning and thoughtfulness of Ali. In this system, he was able to use his best traits, and quite importantly, Eriksen was able to find him in any space. Seeing as his skill set did not allow him to convert himself into a pure striker or a pure midfielder, the departure of Eriksen, Poch, and effectively the Storm took away much of his powers, and he has yet to recover. At the end of the day, these are all just theories. There are likely many more reasons. I mean, we haven't even factored in his mental state or his personal situations, all of which we should, rightly so, not know anything about. But if we're all being completely real, the truth likely lies as a combination of all of those, plus all the other reasons that I've already mentioned. After 7 years with Tottenham Hotspur, his time with the club came to a close as he was sold to Everton for £10 million. And after failing to even get into the starting 11 of an Everton side that finished 16th, he was sent on loan to Beisktas for the 2022-23 season. In doing so, many have been quick to claim that he is officially done as a player and that there is no coming back from this horrendous fate. And I will admit, the evidence does seem to point towards a downward trajectory, but I prefer to be hopeful in this situation. Plus, the guy is only 26, and contrary to what's being touted in the media, he's gone to a pretty big club. He clearly has the talent, and that drive that he seems to have lost is surely still in there somewhere. The question, however, is if it can still be found. And there we have it. What do you guys all think about this situation and Dele Alli as a player? Feel free to let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and feel free to also follow me on all the socials if you want. They're all in the description. That's all from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.